Fantastic Mr. Fox, a film directed by Wes Anderson based on the Roald Dahl book of the same name, is a beautiful, well-crafted example of mise-en-scene. From its quick cuts, snappy dialogue, and beautiful landscapes, it gives a feeling as if almost everything is richly crafted and painstakingly choreographed, allowing for the total control over composition. And that's because it is.
We put Bean here and Bugs and Buns there. The PD is about here.
Everything was made by hand from scratch. Thousands of creatures, sets, props, and costumes. Each puppet took weeks to create. They used actual hair and made real teeny tiny costumes for each character to give them texture and movement.
What are you wearing?
Fantastic Mr. Fox presents us with the idea that no matter who you are, you can't fight your true instincts. Mr. Fox is a very average fox. He hunts and steals to survive. But when a night of theft goes wrong that puts his family in danger, he is faced to give up that life and become a normal family man. He gets a job as a newspaper writer but yearns to go back to his roots. Throughout the film, characters have very blank faces. Their facial expressions rarely deviate. The only time they do is when their animal instincts come out. They go feral for a second.
Are you cussing with me?
No, you cussing with me?
Don't cuss and point
You're
at me.
gonna cuss with somebody. You're not gonna cuss with me, you little cuss.
Me.
But because their faces don't move that much, that doesn't mean it cuts from their vocal and body performances.
Okay.
The tone of the film feels very flat at times, but quickly cuts to bring it up. Characters will move in exaggerated ways at times, and the vocal performances from the likes of George Clooney, Meryl Streep, and Bill Murray are top-notch. Typically, to capture voice lines for animated films, you lock up each actor in a soundproof booth and have them act individually. But for Fantastic Mr. Fox, Wes Anderson made them capture their voices on location.
Recorded the voices in kind of an unconventional way, which was we went to a farm and kind of got a group together.
Scared of wolves? Scared? No. Oh, I have a phobia of them. Well, I have a thing about thunder. Why? That's stupid.
George Clooney seemed like a natural choice. We needed somebody who was going to be a hero.
This allowed for accidents, and in a way, makes the characters more real and relatable. Shots in the film are long takes that make you follow the character. This puts you closer to the character, makes you feel like you're in their shoes, and allows you to feel and connect with them. The film has a very cinematic and distinct style, much like his other film, Moonrise Kingdom. Everything is handmade, and for inspiration, Wes lived in Roald Dahl's place while writing the film.
Our idea of the movie was that it was going to take place in a landscape that was like Gypsy House, which is Dahl's house, that part of England.
He loved the countryside.
Dahl probably wrote Mr. Fox to be an animal version of himself. As a result of that, Dahl is a very interesting man, and so that went into the character.
Here we are. Wow.
He's copied everything. Wes had every lampshade, every object in the house photographed, and they had little miniatures made of them. God, what a team they had.
This adds to the film and gives it a very homely vibe, and shows you what these animals have to deal with. One pivotal scene that drives home the idea that you can't fight your true instincts and meshes the acting and setting into one is towards the end of the film with the wolf. Throughout the film, the idea of a wolf is portrayed as being wild and free. There are loners who are the true definition of animals. Our hero, Mr. Fox, as well as many others, fear the wolf. Throughout the film, you only ever hear of this mysterious wolf, but it all comes to head when you finally see him.
Where did he come from?
The characters exchange glances. Mr. Fox, wanting to be truly free and wild, sees something so majestic.
What are you doing here?
Being the only animal in the film that doesn't stand upright, wear clothes, or even talk shows the true animalistic wild intent. But for Mr. Fox, he tries to engage it in conversation, become one with it, but realizes he can't. He's become too domesticated in a way. He has a home, family, and a community he has to take care of. It's no longer about being wild, but doing what must be done to survive, which is what all animals do. They exchange a power fist and go on their separate ways. Wes Anderson sums the scene up well by saying,
In the end, there's a scene near the end of the movie that's where they see this wolf, and it's really has nothing to do with the plot at all. It's a totally isolated thing, but I feel like it's the climax of the movie for some reason, that ended up being kind of what it was all about for me anyway. This sort of you know, guy in corduroy who wants to be or doesn't want to lose contact with being with his wildness.
Fantastic Mr. Fox uses its performance, setting, and prop elements of mise-en-scene to display its true meaning. That while you make sacrifices in life for the greater good, you must still be true to yourself and the ones around you for there to be true happiness. Everyone is wild in their own right. In the end, it's all about accepting it.
You are without a doubt the 5.5 most wonderful wild animals I've ever met in my life. So let's raise our boxes to our survival.